What's up, everybody? Here we go with another stream. Saturday stream, because, it's what we do here on the Great Cherry live stream. I almost plugged it. That's my channel again. It's not my channel, it's Aaron's channel. But, how's everybody doing? I need to turn down my air conditioner. 1 second. Forgot to do that before. So, won't be as loud now. But, gotta have the AC on so I don't die heat stroke while I do this. So, what's up, everybody? Not a super busy week in wrestling, but still not a bad one. We have new women's tag team champions. I'm happy about that. Go Sasha and Bayley. I mean, she's the other half of the tag team champions. Lots of ridiculousness with The Miz and Morrison on SmackDown also. Not a whole lot going on Raw. Just kind of, Raw's just kind of there. I know NXT TakeOver's tomorrow, so that'll be exciting. I'm looking forward to watching it, and I'm hoping they bring out the set. I know they have like the big video wall, but I feel like what's that? Am I on the same thing, the doctor? No, I'm not. Here. Maybe if I move it further away. That's fine. I hate when my streams do that sometimes. It's okay though. So what's going on with everybody else? The way this live stream is going. Super exciting stuff. This is why I say you should follow me on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or whatever, just so you know when the notifications pop up of when the stream is. Because I know, I flip between Saturdays and Sundays so often. It's really depending on my availability which day I do it. Because one day I just have a chill day, the other day I'm busy. I'm going to be out of town tomorrow, so I won't be able to do it tomorrow. So that's why I'm here doing it today. Adrian in the house. What's up, Adrian? Did you get your shirt yet? I ordered it a couple weeks ago. I wasn't sure if it got to you yet. Mike Gonzalez. Hey, Greg and everybody. What's up, Mike? Dude McCool. Hello, dudes. Hello, dude. Cool Brothers Radio Podcast. Favorite theme song of all the times? Of all time. It's a tough one. I mean, the NWO theme is classic. HBK's theme. But this guy experienced, hey, Cherry. Adrian says Saturday is the new Sunday. Well, I hope not, because that makes the weekend shorter. What up, room? Oh no, it's the baddest mofo at WTC. Adrian says not yet. It'll probably take a few weeks. Caleb Jacobs with a $2 and 4-cent super chat. Do you think Lashley will ever face Brock? I hope so. I mean, that's been a dream match people have built up in their minds for the longest time. I think people want to see that. I think people want to see Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. I think it should happen. I don't know why it hasn't, but I feel like it should happen. Because, think about it, this is probably... They're trying to build Lashley up. I mean, he has a WWE Championship match next week. There's even some rumors he might actually take the title from him, to which I feel like they're going to make Brock take the title from Lashley, and then Drew will win it back from Brock at SummerSlam. I don't know. But I feel like they have to capitalize on that sooner rather than later. I don't know how long Brock's deal is, but you need to do it because that match, Lashley versus Lesnar, is something that people have wanted to see since Lashley debuted in the company 15 years ago. I mean, Lesnar was already gone by that point, but it was still a dream match. And now that they're both together in the same place, Lesnar Lashley kind of needs to happen. James Gerhardt, why put the women's tag team titles on Bayley and Sasha? Ken says, why not? It furthers their storyline. It eases the tension a little bit more between them, and you know that Sasha was the one to get the fall. It wasn't Bayley. Bayley's just kind of the benefactor of winning the tag team championships. Think of the Matt Hardy MVP storyline. I mean, granted, there's less tension between Matt and MVP, or between Bayley and Sasha at the moment, than there was with Matt and MVP. But they found a way to work together for the tag team championships and so on and so forth. But Bayley being a singles champion and a tag champion is really going to benefit that storyline. Does it help Alexa and Nikki? Not really, but at the same time, you have to know that it'll benefit the storyline between Sasha and Bayley more once they end up losing the tag team championships somewhere down the line. I doubt it'll be very soon. I think they'll actually hold on to the gold for a little bit before they pull that trigger. But yeah, I think they're going to keep the belt on them for a while just to build that storyline. So, how did this go? Lashley and Brock will probably happen in Saudi Arabia in 5 years, knowing Vince and how he likes to wait far too long before doing something. Yeah, I mean, that's accurate. Adrian says, Brock versus Bobby in a street fight where they beat the shit out of each other. I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine for, just no skill whatsoever, just beat the crap out of each other. I mean, that's why I enjoyed Goldberg and Brock at WrestleMania 33. There was nothing pretty about it. They just went out and beat the crap out of each other. It's like, that's all I wanted out of the match between those two. Where are we at? Domestic Butler in the house. What's up? CNN HBK in 2007 as well, yeah? Yeah, I mean, when you have tension between tag team champions, and Eddie and Ray at some point too, even though neither one of them were singles champions, they still had a little bit of a rivalry working and brewing while they were tag team champions. So there's that. Sound is echoing. Let me fix that if I can. Is that better? Where is it? I have to listen to it and test it. Oh. I don't hear it echoing anymore, so hopefully that's not a problem. I know my air conditioner's on one of the lowest settings I can get. It's just to make sure that there's still air flowing through here. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So, yeah, I think Sasha and Bayley being the tag team champions will benefit their storyline in the long run, as opposed to them losing and continuing to build tension, because now there's that cloud of doubt in there, be like, oh, they're okay. They're tag team champions now. They're best friends. They're fine now. And sometimes that's the way it goes. It's like sometimes you have a fight and then you're like, okay, we're okay now. We're fine. And then there's tension built up later down the line. I feel like it's going to be a situation where Bayley either accidentally costs Sasha the match, or it'll be where Bayley actually takes the fall herself to lose the tag team championships. I don't see Sasha losing them clean because that doesn't really help the story as much. So it's one of those things where Sasha's the one getting the success and Bayley's screwing it all up. You know what I mean? Ken said, it's too bad Mahal was injured. I would like to see a confrontation between McIntyre and Mahal. Well, apparently that was supposed to happen before Mahal had to go in for like emergency knee surgery. So hopefully everything's good with him and he's back in a few weeks. Because, yeah, I mean, there's so much history between McIntyre and Mahal with everything regarding 3MB. Kind of makes you wish Heath Slater was still with the company. To be like a moderator, be like, hey, which side is Heath going to choose? And Heath would actually be like a compelling part of that story. It's going to be one of these streams where there's so many stream issues. And I don't know why. Domestic Butler, fed up with AJ constantly losing or being made to look like an idiot. Well, he lost to a roll-up, so it's not like he got beat super clean. He just got caught. Maybe AJ wins the Intercontinental title next week. There's so much 50-50 booking now, it's like nobody's really important other than perhaps the top champions. Like, you don't see Braun losing very often. You don't see Drew losing really at all. So, unless you're a champion, you're probably going to be subject to the 50-50 booking. Which is maddening, because it means, like, hey, where are these people coming from? But it's the way they've been doing it for so long. Cool Brothers Radio Podcasts asking me a Steelers question. Okay. Bradshaw, Harris, Swan, and Stallworth, or Roethlisberger, Bettis, Ward, and Burris? Two solid groups. I would probably go with Team Bradshaw because I feel like as good as Burris was as a receiver, the Steelers had better receivers. If you would have put like Randall L in there, or who else did they win a title with? Because Burris got the winning Super Bowl touchdown for the Giants, but not for the Steelers. Santonio Holmes. If you would have put Santonio Holmes there, I probably would have gone with that team. But Burris never brought the Steelers a ring. Santonio Holmes was a Super Bowl MVP. So if you would have switched those two out, I probably would have gone with that team. Despite how solid, Bradshaw, Harris, Swan, and Stallworth were. But I'm going with the classics. I'm going with the Steel Curtain era. I'm going with Team Bradshaw on that one. Braun is an afterthought as champ. Yeah, it's... Oh, sorry, Greg has to go. Greg, the rumor is Lashley beats Drew to face Brock at SummerSlam. The feud doesn't need a title, but Heyman and MVP programs will be good stuff. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that. I like Lashley. I do. And he's been a former world champion before. He's been ECW champion, and he was, which they actually called it the ECW World Championship at that point. And he was also, 4-time TNA champion? So, I mean, Lashley's solid. Lashley is very talented. I agree that the feud doesn't need a title because we kind of know how it's going to be built. If there was no championship on the line, then there would be that doubt. But I feel like if you put the title in there, you feel like Lesnar's going to win to put somebody else over. It's kind of shallow booking doing it that way. I don't know if shallow booking is the right term I want to use, but it seems backwards to do it that way. James Gerhardt, do you think Taya will come to WWE? If they offer her a contract, I mean, Morrison's there, so why wouldn't you bring his wife there? But she seems happy in Impact, so. Married couples don't have to be together to be successful. Like, Moxley's in AEW. Renee works for Fox and WWE, so it's fine. Matt Helms. Hello, Greg. What's up, Matt? Mike Gonzalez. Greg, when do you see Roman coming back? I don't think we see him until next year once we get a vaccine for the virus. The thing with medical, like, technology or whatever, if he waits till there's a vaccine, that may still be like another couple years, if not more, off. And Roman, having beat cancer twice, can't exactly risk contracting this and dying as a result. So somebody who is like immunocompromised can't really afford the chance while this virus is still out there to risk his life and put his family at risk, because he just had, what, twin boys? So he's a busy man. So I don't blame him for wanting to stay at home and protect his family. I don't know how long it's going to last. And we don't know when there will be a vaccine, if there will be one anytime soon. So I don't know. All right. Adrian with the €20 super chat, and Boston Punk with a $10 super chat. Yes. All right. Let's get this ball rolling. Let's get some spins going. Starting off with Adrian, the first of two for you, sir. And an entrance. One thing away from the bankrupt. Let's try and avoid that, shall we? Close again. 2 entrances for Adrian. There you go. Cool. And then Boston Punk. This one's for you. And you get an entrance too, Boston Punk. There you go. 3 entrances right off the top. I'm actually happy. Like I love doing the entrances for you guys. So 3 entrances right off the top. 2 for Adrian, and 1 for Boston Punk. While I wait, I'm going to keep doing some of the chats. Greg is the GOAT. Otis cashes in on Lesnar. Swerve. Can you imagine if Otis beat Brock Lesnar for a championship? That would be insane. Can you imagine if Taya came to NWA Power and feuds with Melina? Well, that would be interesting. Most people will never hold the ECW and TNA belt as high as WWE and WCW. That's true with this guy experience. Boston Punk chose Carmella. Okay. Not a problem. I'll do Adrian's first as soon as he sends them in. And then I'll get Carmella's. Where am I at? Adrian says Roman won't come back. Hollywood beckons. I mean, that's possible too. I mean, he could very much follow in the footsteps of his cousin. If Roman never wrestled again, would he go down as one of the greatest of all time, close or not even close at all? Greatest of all time might be a stretch. If he stepped away right now, he would probably have a Hall of Fame career just because of all the WrestleManias he's main evented, the championships he's won, and just how important he was the entire time he was there. I doubt that he's done anytime soon. All right, so Adrian chose the Oddities and Finn Balor. So I'm guessing Demon Balor. And then I will do Carmella's. 3 all over the place entrances. We got Attitude Era, we got NXT, and then we got the Princess of Staten Island. So, all right, here we go. Alexa, make Man Cave green. I don't really know why, but I feel like they used different lighting. Alexa, make Man Cave red. Alright, let me see if I can. Alexa, make Man Cave gold. we go. All right. Duo. Alexa. You know what? Stop. That's fine. Able to see that. So there you go. There's 3 entrances right off the bat for you. Caleb Jacobs with a $2 super chat. Hogan should have been in the Firefly match at WrestleMania. Well, technically speaking, Cena was impersonating Hogan, so that's, I guess, as close as you would have got. All right. Does TNA even have a TV deal, or are they exclusive to Twitch? I'm guessing they're exclusive to Twitch. I don't know. They jumped around so many networks, I don't even know where they're at anymore. Adrian says, all that was missing was Cartman. Yeah. That's true. What's up, Jermaine Presley? I think I've missed some of yours. What was your opinion on Sasha and Bayley winning the tag titles? Well, I addressed that at the top. I'm a big fan of it because, you know, I'm a big Sasha Banks fan, so there you go. So I think it's going to benefit that storyline. Love to see it. I love heel Bayley so much. She's so good at what she does. I knew she would be, too. It's like, I see that baby face, it's like, I know she can be a good heel. Damn it, she pulling it off. Love Bayley. So that's awesome. I love the fact that you're at a barbecue, too. I think I'm going to one of those tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it's a barbecue. Am I still skipping really, really bad? Yikes. I wonder why it's so bad this week. I think I know why, but... You're saving that clip and playing it when Belichick leads us to ringside. Well, you don't got Brady anymore, so we'll see. We're going to see this season who the better one really was. Was it really Brady's ability to be a quarterback, or was it Belichick's coaching style? And there's a possibility that neither one of them wins the Super Bowl. I mean, they didn't this past year, so that was all about the Chiefs. TNA is on Access, and it's terrible. I've seen different opinions on Impact. There are some people who like strictly watch Impact. I know Matt watches it. He's in the chat typically. I guess I didn't send him the link. Probably should. Something. I'm gonna send him the link. But yeah. Well, the funny thing is Brady's last throw as a New England Patriot was a pick 6. So if nothing else, like I know he tied, like he has 6 rings. The Patriots are tied with the Steelers for most rings, for most Super Bowl rings. So that is what it is. So that's just like a little bit of comfort to me, considering the Patriots pretty much own the Steelers' asses the last 15 or so years. Domestic Butler, do you think they should do more cliffhangers on Raw and SmackDown? Yeah, they definitely should. I mean, why wouldn't they? You want fans to tune in the next week to see what happens. So it's like, how will they come back from this? Like, what is he going to do next week to get his revenge? It's like, if you don't have cliffhangers and you're just running shows, it's like, then it's really episodic and it's not must-see TV. If you have those cliffhangers, then you draw people in for more viewership. So why wouldn't you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to draw in more people to watch your product? I feel like wrestling shows are very templated today. It's like match, promo, match, promo, match, other match here, backstage segment, blah, 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 rinse, repeat. It's like, quit being so formulaic. Make it interesting to watch the shows. Or cut back to 2 hours, because 3 hours of TV is a lot to produce every single week for one show. And I'm not saying like it needs to be the same storyline too. Like you can have various storylines interweave, but it doesn't feel like there are very many compelling storylines in wrestling. Like I brought up with Sasha and Bayley, that is going to be a long-term, drawn-out storyline, which is perfect because when the payoff gets here, it's going to be solid as long as they're given the time to do so. If Sasha and Bayley are given like 20, 25 minutes to put on a masterpiece, they will do it. See Takeover Brooklyn. See Takeover Respect. It's the two most high-profile matches against each other, and they delivered both times. AEW does cliffhangers like every segment. And do people still tune into AEW every week over NXT? It seems like it. So I'm not saying you need to further, like, even if there are some like underlying storylines, you need to factor those in. It doesn't really matter what little changes WWE makes when you still have Vince running things. He needs to change his formula, or we'll just be waiting until he's no longer in charge. Vince is probably going to outlive us all. Vince is going to live till he's like 175, and he's still going to be diving off of stuff and showing people how to run stuff. It's so weird. And I don't know if Triple H is exactly the creative answer for WWE. I like what he's doing with NXT. But you don't want to make all your shows the same, because then it doesn't make it more special, if that makes any sense. I feel like Triple H could have some creative input for Raw and SmackDown, but I don't feel like he should be the go-to. If that makes any sense. Because if he was the go-to, I feel like he would make the wrestling better, but I feel like you need a stronger team of people involved with storylines. I would personally love to see like HBK oversee creative. Because think of his storylines over the years. All the ones he's had a part of. Phenomenal. Shawn gets the business. Why not put him in charge of creative? Even if he doesn't have to leave Florida. Like, just make him like technology is so good that you don't actually have to physically be where they are. You just have to be like reachable or something. Just have Shawn like run an office in Florida, give some creative input to the Raw writers and the SmackDown writers and whatnot, and let them run with it. You don't need to be there all the time to be accessible. Alyssa Stansberry, what? She's asking why is Seth Rollins continuing to lose? Is WWE mad at Seth Rollins for having a baby with Becky Lynch? That seems like a ridiculous reason. I feel like I can't imagine after all the work that they've put into Seth Rollins that they're trying to bury him because of what's happening with Becky. It wouldn't surprise me, being how petty WWE's been for lesser things in the past. But they've invested so much time into Seth Rollins' character, it makes no sense to bury him. He's just booked to lose. Would winning help him? Sure, but he's not going to be a main event player for the time being. I just want someone who has a creative wrestling mind like Triple H to take over WWE. I'm done with Vince and his crap humor. I mean, yeah, Triple H has a wrestling mind. Vince has he's very good at promoting things. The actual wrestling aspect, Triple H has a better mind for. Greg is the GOAT. In my opinion, WrestleMania 17 was the best Mania of all time. And that's the opinion of a lot of people. I share that opinion. I think 19, if it's not a close second, it might be better than 17. 19 was an all-around solid card, top to bottom. 17 had the gimmick Battle Royal, which was just kind of a nostalgia act. But WrestleMania 19, I think, of all the WrestleManias, probably had the most solid in-ring action from the beginning of the card to the end of the card. 17 was solid too, don't get me wrong. It's very hard to determine for me. I feel like 19 is still very underappreciated. But 19 is probably number 2, if not number 1. This guy experience. Who do you think won a world title that didn't earn it? I mean, Jinder's title reign came out of nowhere. I don't think he's as bad of a champion as people make him out to be. I don't think he's the worst world champion of all time. Who do you think won a world title that didn't earn it? I mean, the obvious answers should be David Arquette and Vince Russo. WCW 2000 was a very weird time. It really was. And I understand, and I'm not trying to defend Arquette actually winning the championship. I understand why they did it. Just for the purposes of promoting Ready to Rumble. He didn't need to win the title. Like, just putting him on the show in the match against Bischoff, I thought that was fine. The Monday Nitro match, Bischoff against Arquette, that was fine. Just for a little entertaining segment. He didn't need to be in a championship match to win the title. That was a little weird. But Russo winning the title was not really necessary. As far as WWE goes, WWE is harder to do. I think if Jack Swagger would have been built up more, his world title run wouldn't be so forgotten. I felt like Jack Swagger they could have built up more with the Money in the Bank briefcase because his wins seemed very cheap. Which, yes, it's a Money in the Bank cash-in. All world title wins seem cheap with Money in the Bank. But his seemed extremely underwhelming. I still like the segment. I just wish he wouldn't have changed his character slightly because he was like this super cocky man, and then like you saw on his face, it changed to him being very serious as a world champion. It's like he needed to stay that cocky, arrogant person, and it just didn't work. I would have rather had Swagger win the world title at WrestleMania 29 as opposed to winning Money in the Bank 3 years prior. If he would have beat Del Rio at WrestleMania, I would have been fine. Granted, it led to Dolph cashing in, which was an amazing cash-in moment. But if you're going to give Swagger the title at any point, do it at WrestleMania 29. I forgot Swagger was world champion. A lot of people do. It was not a memorable run whatsoever. Cody Foster win. Jack Swagger is better than Corbin. Oh, I like Corbin. And Corbin hasn't been world champion yet. So, don't get me wrong. I like Jake Hager, Jack Swagger, whatever you want to call him. I really thought the whole We the People thing was going to be what elevated him more. Adrian with a €10 super chat for another spin, which I'll get to here in a second. Will Lashley get the belt now because of the whole Black Lives Matter mantra? Good publicity for WWE. I feel like, and I don't think this is their fault, WWE's kind of booked themselves into a corner. And when they do that, it does not turn out well for them. If they gave Lashley the WWE Championship just because of all the Black Lives Matter stuff going on, I feel like it would come across as disingenuous. And if Drew retained, they'll be like, "Oh, why didn't you give Lashley the championship because of Black Lives Matter?" So they can't win in this scenario. No matter what they do, they're going to be criticized for it. There's nobody who wins in this scenario. And it sucks because I like both Drew and Lashley. I do. But this is almost a Seth Rollins and Fiend situation here. They might be able to pull off Lashley getting disqualified, like being too aggressive or something like that, to continue the storyline a little bit more. I feel like a straight up one-on-one pinfall submission victory is not going to happen. I could be wrong, but I feel like WWE is going to be criticized for whatever they do. All right, so here's your next spin, Adrian. Promo class. Okay, you give me a topic and I will cut a promo on it. Whatever you want me to talk about. Khali was pretty bad as champ too. I completely forgot Khali was champion. I tried to block out those couple months as well. I mean, Khali and Swagger are basically in the conversation for worst world champions of all time. I mean, that's the way it is. Jinder's championship run was better than Kofi's. Kofi went against placeholder guys. Jinder beat main eventers. Kofi beat Orton and Joe. Those weren't really placeholders. I mean, he fought Orton. He fought Joe. Who else did he fight? Fought Kevin Owens. Two of those are former world or universal champions. It wasn't like he was defending the title against Mojo Rawley. For a second, Tree Matthews in the house. What's up? Okay, so Kasha Madness says all lives matter. Let me just address this. Yes, all lives matter, but I've seen the best analogy for the Black Lives Matter movement on Facebook that I think I've ever seen, and it made the most sense to me. And it was to the tune of like, yes, all houses matter, but not everybody's house is on fire. And that got me thinking. I was like, that's very true. And obviously I'll never be able to, sympathize with that movement because I'll never know, like, what African American people go through. I will never know that. Point blank. They can tell me stories, but I'll never experience that in my lifetime. The fact that they have to is ridiculous. The fact that people cannot put prejudices aside, which why are they even prejudices to begin with? Why? Why do some white people hate black people just because of the color of their skin? That's stupid. That's petty. That's dumb. Why? There's no reason for it. There's literally no reason for it. Why does it still exist? And it's one of those things where people say, yes, all lives matter, but all lives can't matter until Black lives matter. And I'm not one to like bring up politics or anything, and quite frankly, this is not a political movement at all. And politics should play no factor in this whatsoever. But I agree that the black community's been oppressed, and they should be. We should all be treated equal. Point blank, period. There's no exceptions to the rule. So I'm not trying to go off on people. It's just coming from somebody who doesn't really care about politics, because quite frankly, politics is a cesspool where everybody hates each other. And I feel like that's where a lot of this unrest is created. People who are strictly ingrained in their politics. And they don't really care about the result, they just care about who has power. That's not what any of this is about. Screw politics. Politics is a work. And I've said this, if you follow me on Twitter for years, you know I've said politics is a work numerous times. Because it is. Politics is all a facade so people can get power and do whatever the hell they want. They don't really care about the American people. They don't. Prove me wrong. You have all these people saying like, oh yeah, we should support this, and then they don't do anything about it. Politics is lip service. That's all it is. I mean, Adrian's kind of getting his promo right now. It's one of those things where I've never treated anybody differently because of the color of their skin. There's no reason to. They look different than I do. So what? They are a human being. I don't understand the idea of racism. Like, why it even needs to be a thing. Like, what are you so angry about that you're going to judge an entire community of people based on hearsay? You don't have personal experience, but you're going to hate these people anyway. Hate in and of itself is a stupid concept. Life is too damn short to hate people. I'm looking to get a shirt off my Teespring store. This is not, don't take this as a plug by any means. But I created a shirt that says, love always wins. And I created that because I believe it. Love always wins over hate. And that is a blanket statement covering every race, every gender, every creed, every sexual orientation. Love wins over everything. And this is coming from somebody who, myself, is a Christian. Somebody who believes in God. And I know Christians get a bad rap because they criticize a lot of Christians, not even a lot of Christians, but like some of the more like intense Christians try and judge people over things that they know nothing about. Because they're like, oh, you shouldn't do this because God says this. It's like, first of all, I have a problem with that because Christians are in no place to judge anybody. Christians have their own problems. You can't come out here and act like you're walking like Jesus when you have your own problems. And it says in the Bible I feel like I'm talking in like a sermon fashion. It says in the Bible to not take the speck out of somebody else's eye when you have a log in yours. Don't be correcting other people when you have your own stuff to deal with. You are in no place to judge, no matter who you are. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense to a lot of people. Um, SN1281 says, this is unfortunately extremely political. If you don't vote for Democrats, you'll be labeled racist, which is just insane considering Biden's history. And not to make it political, but Biden actually went on television and told a black man that if he voted Republican, that he wasn't really black. Hate is not a political thing. Hate is in the hearts of people who don't truly know what love is. Because if you truly know what love is, you will appreciate that love. And you will not feel the need to be so angry towards other people. Adrian says a small percentage of people are racist in all walks of life. We can't control a small minority. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that some people are to the point of so much hatred that they brainwash themselves to devote themselves to hating people so much. Devoting yourself to hating anybody, regardless of who it is, seems like a bunch of wasted time. You could put all that hatred, all that energy into something positive to help whoever. Hatred just doesn't make any sense to me. Diane says, I hate the Bible, talks shit about homosexuality and normalizes slavery. If those are the only parts you're focusing on, you don't understand the Bible. There is a lot of fucked up shit in the Bible. I'm not going to tell you that that's not the case. But you haven't read the whole thing, if that's all you think it is. I'm just saying. Alright. Back to wrestling. Back to wrestling, guys. I've been on the subject long enough. And yes, The Rock as president would be cool. But anyway, back to wrestling. What were we talking about before that? Promo on Piper and Snuka. Okay. You want me to cut a promo on them as if they were a team? Is that what I'm understanding? All right, let me see. You want me to talk about the coconut incident? Okay. You know, I sit here and I was watching Piper's Pit, and all I see is this crazy man named Jimmy Superfly Snuka trying to come at Roddy Piper and try and take him down. And then Piper, he tries to appease Jimmy Snuka. He tries to identify with the Islander culture. And what does he do? He takes a coconut, smashes it over the head of Jimmy Snuka, breaks his own set, and causes all sorts of chaos. What kind of man is that, Piper? Huh? Why would you do that to somebody like Jimmy Superfly Snuka? And Snuka, also to you. Why would you be so gullible to fall for Piper's traps? You had to realize that Piper didn't have your best interest in mind, and yet you still went along with his ploy. Well, guess what? Both of you need to be taken down. And this Sunday in Madison Square Garden, I'm going to take both of you down because both of you have no idea who you're dealing with. You're dealing with somebody whose head is harder than a damn coconut. You're dealing with somebody whose head is one you can't mess with. I'm not somebody's mind you can control. And Piper, Snuka, this Sunday at Madison Square Garden, I take both of you down. Not my best promo work, that's what I got. Alright, so. And now we're talking about classic wrestling, so there you go. Report Card Radio. Greg, what's going on? Not a whole lot. Who do you think is the best promo you ever cut? Are you asking who's the best promo guy in wrestling history? Jeez. I mean, Dusty Rhodes could cut amazing promos. Ric Flair could cut amazing promos. The Rock can cut amazing promos. Thinking of people who just spoke and like every time they opened their mouth it was gold. Piper was another one. Piper was ridiculously entertaining. Savage too. I don't think Savage gets enough credit. As far as my promos when I was a manager, what do you think is the best promo you ever cut? I would say I cut a promo on this indie audience one time in Pittsburgh. And one time I told them I got a text message from God to apologize to me for having to be in the same arena as these worthless pieces of crap. I got zero reaction for that, and I was so upset, so I just had to keep going. I was so annoyed because I thought it was a solid line to rile them up, and they completely went over everybody's heads. So freaking annoying. Because you got to appeal to your audience. And for whatever reason, that one just didn't click. I thought it was good. There was another time I was in Ohio, and I cut a promo talking about being from the city of winners, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, because Pittsburgh and the cities of Ohio have a giant sports rivalry going on, for those that don't know. And that one got more of a reaction. Not as strong as I would have hoped. But sometimes those indie crowds are hard to read. You think you know what you're talking about, and then suddenly it seems like you're rambling. I didn't have the opportunity to cut as many promos as I would have liked, but I like doing it. It's fun for me. 42nd Street Matthew. That's a great line. Maybe they were offended into silence. That's possible. It's possible. Is Paul Heyman a better promo than CM Punk? Probably. Browns will be better than the Steelers this year. If they keep beating the Steelers over the head with their own helmets, then maybe. It's hard to judge that because, yeah, the Browns got a win over the Steelers last year in prime time, but then ended up with a worse record. That's the thing. The Browns can string a couple wins together, but they can't figure it out long term. And no matter how good their talent is, they need to be coached better if they want to succeed. And you figure, too, the Steelers had amongst the worst offenses in the NFL all last season. They had one of, if not the worst, because Duck Hodges and freaking Mason Rudolph could not get out of their own way. Some of their top offensive players were hurt. And I'm not making excuses. You should be able to do next man up. But it seems like the Steelers don't have that next man up. If their top players go out, their backups don't live up to the hype. I hate saying that because I've been a Steelers fan my whole life. But you either need to draft better or trade for more people. The Minka Fitzpatrick trade, totally worth it. Love Minka. Other than that, I don't think they've made a solid trade move in years. Just saying. Who did Austin Aries make his NXT debut against? I believe it was Corbin. The first TakeOver match, because Corbin attacked him during his debut. Greg, are you a Sooner fan, and do you like our QBs who went to the league? Bradford, Mayfield, and Murray Hurts. I don't have anything. I don't have anything against Oklahoma. I mean, I'm not a Big 12 guy. I'm a Notre Dame fan. So Notre Dame and Oklahoma have played each other a couple times in recent years. I don't have anything against Oklahoma. They just always seem to have one bad loss that completely screws them out of the top four. But I think they made the top four. They made the college football playoff at least once recently. But it's one of those things where Oklahoma is good enough to make the top four, but not good enough to win. And I don't know if that's the ridiculous dominance of the SEC, which, my gosh, I hope is over. Or what it is, but Oklahoma's a good team. I like them. I don't root against them unless they're playing the Irish. Adrian with the €10 super chats. Here we go. Let's get another. Let's just see what happens. I don't have any preferences, just whatever the deal is. Well, there's an entrance, so there you go. The Big 12, the conference with no defense. That's very true. Their games are super high scoring. What was that game? Oh, I don't want to talk crap about Oklahoma losing on like a botched kickoff last year because the ball went 9.5 yards instead of 10 before a player touched it. Because Notre Dame lost big to Michigan that day. It's like, ugh. Of all the teams to lose big to, it had to be Michigan. Just like when they lost to Miami. It's like, ugh. It's like, why do they have to lose to these teams they've had historical rivalries for? And why do they have to lose to them that bad? It's frustrating. Earthquake entrance for Ken. Okay. I mean, there's not a whole lot there other than me jumping up and down, but all right. Diane said I should do Asuka's entrance. Well, send me some super chat money and I will. I don't give out entrances for free, baby. Unless I feel bad that somebody hits bankrupt twice a month. Alright, so Earthquake it is. Alexa, make Man Cave gray. There's not a whole lot to Earthquake's entrance. Kind of wish I would have gotten him in the WWE Champions month-long challenge last month, but I wasn't anywhere close to getting him. Who is the better wrestler, Earthquake or Tugboat? It's amazing that neither one of them's in the Hall of Fame. Like, the Natural Disasters are not in the Hall of Fame. And they were tag team champions, so... Man, Earthquake's been gone for, like, almost 20 years. It's hard to believe. I might give the edge to Quake. Typhoon wasn't bad. Tugboat, whatever. He wasn't bad. Greg is a go. We always beat Oklahoma State at Bedlam, though. I mean, those like interdivisional rivalries are always fun. Since Notre Dame's an independent, the only like quote unquote interdivisional rivalry they have is against Navy, who's also an independent. And then you have your USC, you have your Michigan. I mean, Michigan won't be happening for a while, but you have USC. Boston College is in there from time to time. I do miss the Purdue rivalry. I do miss that one. I wish they go back to facing Purdue every year. But then we have to hear about Drew Brees. Hey, Drew Brees played at Purdue. It's like, we know. You tell us every year Drew Brees played at Purdue. Crying out loud. We're aware. But yeah. Hey, Greg, who defeated Eddie Guerrero to take his first European title? Eddie Guerrero lost the European title. I don't think it was Regal. Because I know Al Snow lost it to Regal. Unless it was like Saturn or something, but I don't know. It wasn't Saturn? Damn it. Who's Matt Hardy? Are you sure? Are you sure about that? I think Matt ended Eddie's second reign as European champion. I don't think it was his first. So Matt Hardy ended both reigns as European champion? I thought Matt was only a one-time European champion. Aha! Aha! Victory! I know what I'm talking about. Who did Booker T beat for his first WCW TV title? Was that Rick Martel? Pretty sure it was Rick Martel. Cody Fosterway. Notre Dame needs to join a conference. The Big Ten, maybe. The thing with Notre Dame joining a conference is they join a conference in every other sport except football. And it's the ACC. Which then would bring in rivalries with like Clemson and Pitt and stuff like that. Even though they play Clemson and Pitt, they play a bunch of ACC teams already. I guess they just don't want to lose the rivalries with like Navy and USC and stuff like that. Stuff that like has been going on for numbers of years. And then in Stanford too, because they like that finish off their season in California every year. Why, I don't know. Warmer weather, I guess. Who took the European title from Matt Hardy? I'm trying to remember the European title reigns. Was that the Hurricane? I feel like it was the Hurricane. Bam. Bring us to go. Are you sick of the Buck bandwagons? Y'all expect us to get behind two old former Super Bowl champs? I'm taking my chances with the Packers. Tom Brady and Gronk aren't going back to the Super Bowl. I mean, Tampa Bay's a solid team, but I don't think Brady's going to have anywhere near the protection from the offensive line that he had in New England. New England would not let anybody through that line, which was highly frustrating for any defense. And if you can't get to the quarterback's going to make plays 9 times out of 10. Very rarely does somebody of Brady's caliber make a mistake. I'm just glad if he wins another Super Bowl. It's like, it's whatever. He has more Super Bowl rings than any other quarterback right now. So if he wins one for Tampa Bay, that's fine, because he's not winning one for New England. I'm not saying that's going to happen. We don't know how this NFL season's going to go. It may be a complete cluster. The Browns could win the Super Bowl for all we know. In 2020, as a whole year, would be like, what the hell was that? I mean, 2020 as a year already is what the hell is that? So why not just throw other crazy stuff in there? What city did Jeff Hardy defeat William Regal for the European title? Oh, jeez. Was it Raleigh, North Carolina? I don't know. Cities of things happening, I'm typically not very good with. Was it Pittsburgh? Was it really Pittsburgh? I don't remember that Raw whatsoever. I don't brag about Philadelphia. Adrian says, speaking of Regal, he should have gotten a bigger push. I know he was meant to get a big push around this King of the Ring win, but then got suspended. Yeah, if he wouldn't have got suspended, he was supposed to actually get a WWE title match against Triple H. Whether he would have won or not, I would have loved to see a heel Regal title run. That would have been awesome. Yeah, if Regal wouldn't have decided, hey, I'm gonna juice up to freaking get this run, he would have been solid. Man, if Regal would have beat Triple H, I'm sure Triple H wouldn't have minded putting him over either, because of how far back they go. Man, a Regal title run, that would have been sick. Cody Fosterling says Philly is better than Pittsburgh. No, it's not. No, it's not. More cups, more Super Bowl championships. Not really sure about. I'm a Yankees fan, so I'm not really sure about World Series titles. I know Pittsburgh's got 5, but I don't know how many the Phillies have. Who do you think was the best King of the Ring winner? For me, it would be King Booker. What year did Regal face Tajiri for the European title? Was he either 2001 or 2002? Probably no. It would probably have to be 2001, I'm guessing. King Regal kind of reminds me of Baron Corbin, a good worker who not a lot of people like. They still don't get why Mark's crap on Corbin. Was it 2002? I thought I thought they were both heels at that point. That's why it threw me off. Because I know Tajiri won the Cruiserweight title as a heel. So it must have. And I thought he was on SmackDown, too. When did that happen? Okay, let me see if I can read this. What's the most match you thought somebody actually had a chance at winning the world title? I remember I was behind Sandow being champion until Cena buried him shortly after. March 2000. Regal must have won the European title right after he lost the Intercontinental then. Because he was the Intercontinental Champion going into WrestleMania. I know WrestleMania was super early in March that year. So he must have had to won the European title in that SmackDown or something, and then defended it shortly after. It makes sense because he was European champion for the draft. Okay, I guess. Somebody actually had a chance of winning the world title. I popped super hard when Santino hit Daniel Bryan with the Cobra because I thought it was oh my gosh, Santino's going to win the World Heavyweight Championship and defend it at WrestleMania. I actually thought it was going to happen for a split second. Other than that, I wish Corbin would have cashed in on Jinder successfully. But I had this bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. It's as soon as the bell rings, he's going to lose it. I had this bad feeling in the pit of my stomach, and then he did. I was son of a bitch. I was so upset. So upset. Remember when Santino almost won the Rumble? Yep, 2011. Worst worst and best thing about the NWO storyline in WCW? I mean, the best thing is when it started. And the fact that they were so dominant for so long to make you wonder, who's going to ever get a one-up on the NWO? And I think the worst thing they did was the Starrcade match. Because it looked like they screwed Hogan. It's like you have this match built up for over a year. You have Hogan, like, Nick Patrick didn't even fast count, so that one's on him. And then you have it made, and then you recreate the Montreal Screwjob. Like, of all the things that you could have done with Bret Hart, that's how you introduce him. And one more for the road, says Adrian. All right, let's see what we can get you this time. That was a terrible spin. That was a terrible spin. I'm going to spin that again. Entrance. There you go. You're not getting no wussy spins on this stream. At least not intentionally. There's a lot of stories behind the Starrcade 97 main event. That was supposed to be a fast count, but apparently Hogan told him to count normally before the match. Gotta protect your heat, brother. But the thing is, like, a fast count would have worked perfectly for Hogan's heat. Because it's a heel thing to do. Making him look like he legit beat Sting kills all of Sting's momentum. But it is a Hogan thing, so I guess. I keep watching from time to time. You guys are talking about Owen Hart potentially being WWF champion. I keep watching a clip from a lumberjack match that was on, I'm guessing, one of the Coliseum video releases of Brett versus Owen for the title, and for like a minute, Owen actually won the match and was declared champion, but then they reversed it because the Anvil came in and attacked Brett. It is what it is. Booker T entrance. Okay, I got you. Now, do you want 5-time champion Booker T, or do you want King Booker? I'll do 5-time champion Booker T. Booker T. I see your request, Ken, but if you want that, then you have money. All right, Booker T. Booker T. I guess I have to fix the camera, huh? That would help. Fix the camera. Here we go. From WCW. So there you go. Again, too little. That's fine. What did I do? Oh, cool. Um, do the Booker T spin-a-rooney. I can't. First of all, I wouldn't mind doing the spin-a-rooney, but there is literally no room in this room to do it. If this bed ever leaves this room, I could try, but I'd probably get rug burn really bad. And yeah, Booker T's theme is called Rap Sheet. Probably not thought about in the early 90s when it was first created. It was called Rap Sheet. It was not a Jim Johnston creation, Ken. It was used in WCW long before Booker ever came over to WWE. Not a WWF thing. I understood Michaels was angry at Hogan refusing to put him over at Unforgiven, but it was still really unprofessional. I mean, it was probably the only match that I recall that Shawn intentionally went out of his way, besides the match with Vader at SummerSlam, that Shawn intentionally went out of his way to make his opponent look bad. Hogan deserved it, yeah. I mean, he really did. Like, the fact that he couldn't put Shawn over at a later point and claimed, oh, he was hurt. Hogan didn't want to put anybody over unless his name was Hulk Hogan. And that's always been the case. And we've seen it with his stuff, and his family's not really that much better, if at all. It's like, the stuff that I've seen Linda Hogan and Nick Hogan tweet lately is like, is Brooke Hogan really the only person with a brain, or is she that dumb too? I don't know. Hey, Greg, you should tell them about your choices for that promotion thing we were talking about the other day. Yeah. So Matt and I actually had a conversation, and we came up with a roster where we had to choose 10 male superstars, 4 tag teams, 6 female superstars, a commentary team, 1 manager, and 1 legend. From any company, like there's pretending that none of the contracts existed, who would we take? So if I were to start a company with any superstars that I wanted, here's who I would choose. In no particular order. For the men, I would choose Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles, Mr. Anderson, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Keith Lee, John Moxley, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, Cesaro, and Orange Cassidy. Yes, Orange Cassidy. I like Orange Cassidy. Deal with it. For the tag teams, I would choose the Street Profits, Beer Money, FTR, and Fish and O'Reilly. For the females, I would choose Sasha Banks, Dr. Britt Baker, Bianca Belair, Penelope Ford, Toni Storm, and Kiera Hogan. For my commentary team, Tony Schiavone and Stu Bennett. My manager would be Elijah Burke, and my legend would be, of course, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. I like the Street Profits, Adrian. I think they're entertaining. And quite frankly, if I'm bringing Bianca too, why not bring her husband? You know. I don't care what anyone says. Shawn Michaels should have won that match against Hulk Hogan at SummerSlam. Shawn killed him on the mic, and he was killing him in the ring during that match. Yeah. I have no draws. You saying Chris Jericho and Moxley aren't draws? Like, they literally main evented an AEW pay-per-view. And plus, starting out any promotion, you have to build people up, so... Just my opinion. Bianca and Ford will split up and potentially be the new Triple H and Steph. Jeez. They were supposed to have 3 matches, but Hogan was being Hogan. Yeah. Hogan didn't want to lose at that point in his career, which seems ridiculous. I don't know why either. And there was even talk about him winning a match at WrestleMania this year, had it not been for the COVID stuff. Him winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. It's like, why? What finisher would you take off a ladder? Maybe like the AA that Edge took through the tables. Might do that. I'm trying to think of another one. Basically anything that takes for a back bump. I hate doing face bumps as it is. Why would I want to take one from higher up? You know? I'm not taking a pedigree off a ladder. That can go... That idea can go to hell. I am not doing that one. Not going to happen. Oh, you changed yours slightly. Okay. Can Apollo make the U.S. title great again? I think so. I'm glad Apollo Crews is getting a chance to shine now. Because Apollo didn't really have a whole lot of momentum behind him when he first came up from NXT. So now that I think they're taking shots with people they hadn't before just because of the lack of crowd. I don't know. I like the idea of Apollo being the U.S. champ. I think he should hold on to it for a bit and just have good matches. Kind of like Cena did. Thoughts on the Orton and Undertaker feud? I thought it was good all throughout 2005. Their SummerSlam match was a little weird. Of all the matches they had against each other during that feud, I thought that one was a little weak, honestly. All right, see ya, Adrian. Domestic Butler, who would you like to manage in wrestling currently now? I feel like I would need to be paired with somebody who doesn't talk too much. Let me look at the WWE roster. You know what? Never mind. I don't have to. Cesaro. I would like to manage Cesaro. I think if I was the one cutting promos and he was the one wrestling, that would be a solid connection. I don't know why it didn't work with Heyman, but I think it could work with me. Personally. Yeah, the fact that we were limited to choosing 10 male superstars did kind of put the kibosh on it. He did some smart things like booking 3-man teams for the tag teams. I should have thought of that. I should have put SCU as a tag team because then I could have got Daniels in there and then given my single spot to somebody else. But I like Daniels as a singles competitor, and I think he should be world champion again because he was Ring of Honor world champion. I would like to see him be champion again somewhere else. Yeah, the limit for male superstars was 10. Tag teams do not count towards that limit. Because otherwise you just have like 4 tag teams and then not many singles wrestlers at all. Jermaine Presley. I know everyone say they want to see Charlotte versus Tessa Blanchard, but I want to see Tessa Blanchard versus Sasha Banks. Yes. Because I think that would be a better match or a better clash of styles. What do you think? Matt and I actually had this debate, and I was on Team Tessa versus Sasha. Yeah, we literally had that talk. He was more for the history with the Four Horsemen, with Charlotte versus Tessa being 2 daughters of the original Horsemen. And I was like, I like that match, but I think the better actual in-ring match would be Tessa and Sasha. Because I feel like the history with the Horsemen would kind of overshadow the importance of that match. Whereas Tessa and Sasha, you don't have that background, so you can focus on the match. Samoa Joe should be in your 10. Samoa Joe actually probably could have gone on my commentary team, as opposed to Stu Bennett. Shivani and Samoa Joe, that would be an interesting combo. If Matt and I were to combine our women's rosters, though, man, that would be so freaking good of a women's roster. It would be unbelievable. I know what you meant, Matt. But yeah, we talked about if we could bring in anybody we possibly could. And quite frankly, our rosters combined would make for an amazing talent roster. Because we didn't have a whole lot of overlap. We had maybe like, who'd you have for your tag teams again? We both had FTR, so there was overlap there. And SCU had Daniel, so there was overlap there also. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of overlap. And no, it was just like fantasy like rosters. It wasn't anything like we're booking the shows or anything. It was just like if we were gonna start with like unlimited money, whoever we wanted, that's who we pick up. And we also argued about how we would determine our first like heavyweight champion. I said it should be a battle royal so everybody could be featured. Matt said it should be like a 2-night tournament. They're both good options. I'm always partial to the battle royal though, just because I love that match type, and that's always how I envisioned. Like if I was ever going to do a show to debut, like I even talked about this when I like tried to fantasy book my own wrestling promotion, and use like people's names who like were based off of people I knew throughout life. Which unfortunately that never happened. Matt, I'm sorry that I never got back to you on that. That project like never worked because I couldn't find anybody to like, or any program rather, that would simulate match results and let me know what was going on because I was going to provide the commentary and stuff for it. It was going to be this giant podcast project where I booked this fantasy wrestling federation led by 2 different general managers, 2 different shows, and they would talk to each other about stuff, and it never saw the light of day because I couldn't figure out a way to get matches simulated. I tried doing like EWR or TEW or whatever, and there just weren't good match simulators in there. They would give you the results, but they wouldn't give you like the actual breakdown of the action. It was kind of crazy. The North are the Impact Tag Team Champions. Yeah, they've been champions forever. Do you think crowds will be back for the Royal Rumble? I freaking hope so. I freaking hope so. The Rumble, of all the shows that WWE runs, the most crowd-involved show is the Royal Rumble. Because of the reactions, because of the countdown from the crowd, it is the most interactive show with the audience that WWE has. I hope that WWE has crowds back by the Rumble, or they figure some place to hold the shows to have that crowd reaction, you know? Because if they're still doing the Rumble in, like, freaking Performance Center, it's going to take away from so much. I know WrestleMania was there. You can't get any bigger than WrestleMania, but that was due to circumstances. This is, like, months later. It's like, man, I hope that... Can you imagine if Edge would have returned to the ring to no crowd reaction after 9 years of being gone? You had so many legendary reactions to that. It was just crazy. Yeah, the Rumble's my favorite event too, Ken. I've said it numerous times. And that's why, if we ever did the fantasy thing, I would want to do a Rumble match. Okay, cards on the table. Here's how my first show would have been booked for, like, my fantasy wrestling podcast. I would have had women's matches. I would have had a women's single belt, a men's single belt, women's tag titles, men's tag team titles, a women's rumble to determine the women's world champion, and a men's rumble to determine the men's world champion. And then I would have just gone on booking shows from there. Because when you're starting a new place, you don't have storylines to build off of. You just got to book matches and see who gets over and whatever the case may be. It would have been very hard to do, but that's how I would have booked it. Yeah, we're not doing an invasion angle. There's nothing in the plans. It was just discussion. But if I were to ever do, like, book my own federation, here's the thing. I did so much work for it, and then, like, nothing ever came about it, because I was going to do simulations through, like, the MDicky games, like Wrestling Empire or whatever, and, like, part of me thinks I should go back to that, just because I have the time to do it. But, like, the editing process and all of that would have been such a pain in the butt. I don't know. Or it could have been one of those things where I created everybody in, like, WWE 2K19. Although I don't care for the facial recognition feature in there. Especially when you're using people you know, you don't want to, like, have their face look terrible. It was so much work for a project that I didn't even know was going to take off. So. Mike Gonzalez, One Night Stand 05 or 06, which was better? 05. I 05 was more of an ECW show than 06 was, because 06 had WWE guys on it. And yeah, the ECW guys went over, but 05 was an ECW show. not a WWE CW show. It was more of an ECW show. So, '05. I mean, you consider 2005 went off the air with Bischoff saying "fucking CW" and then Stone Cold giving him a stunner. So 2005 had more of that raw, genuine emotion than '06 did. Although people were invested in the main event with Van Dam and Cena. Tessa's very talented. And I still think Tessa would have a better match with Sasha, technically speaking. Not that Charlotte wouldn't put on a good one with Tessa. I just think the match with Sasha has more intrigue. And Tessa herself has said if she was going to wrestle anybody in WWE, it would be Sasha Banks. Take that for what it's worth. You think WWE would ever do a WCW themed pay-per-view like they did with ECW One Night Stand? I think the time is long past for a WCW reunion. Just because if they would have done like a WCW one in 2006, that might have been able to get off the ground a little more. But the fact that it's 2020, almost 20 years after WCW was purchased, there's no saving grace for that. I mean, everybody who competed for that company, even in the years 2000, 2001, are either like 50 or older or not wrestling anymore or unfortunately no longer with us. So there's no money to be made for a WCW nostalgia show. 15 years ago, sure. Now, unless you're going to reboot something with a WCW name, nostalgia does not hold any weight for WCW, personally. Favorite AEW wrestler? Dr. Britt Baker. Her vignette of like training to come back from her injury and the stuff with Shivani, Britt Baker as a heel is freaking gold. I love Britt Baker. And it's not just because she's from Pittsburgh. That helps. But it's so funny. It's so over the top and ridiculous that I love it. That's pretty awesome that you had a friend who went to high school with Britt. That would have been cool. All right, so got about 10 minutes or so before the end of the stream today. Just want to plug all my stuff because that's how I do. So go to youtube.com/GregCherryBrand for the latest episodes of Wrestling Trivia Challenge. New one goes up on Friday. teespring.com/store/GregCherryBrand for all your merchandise like this. The Here We Go shirt. Black and gold, of course, for the Steelers. Because I'm a Steelers fan, so obviously I was just going to create merch to represent my fandom. Then you can also go to Greg Cherry Brand on Instagram and Twitter. Follow me right over here. At Greg Cherry Brand, you can find me wherever you want. And also, I have way more designs than just this. Like, this is catered to anybody who is a Steelers fan and has that little crossover thing with wrestling. I'm excited for more people to buy this. Somebody actually bought my Love Always Wins shirt today. I was super happy. So go there, buy a shirt, buy a bunch of shirts. They go to a good cause, me being employed. So go there, check those out. And we'll get into the comments for a little bit. And if there's no super chats for the remainder of the stream, then we'll end right at 5 o'clock. So there you go. I really don't want anybody to beat Charlotte for the NXT title, only because whoever loses the Bayley Sasha feud, the loser will go over to Raw and take that title so we can have all 3 horsewomen be champion. I mean, you kind of had 3 horsewomen be champion for a short period of time because Charlotte won the NXT title, Becky was Raw Women's Champion, and Bayley was SmackDown Women's Champion. So there's that. Oh, to battle each other at Survivor Series. I got you. I doubt that'll happen. I really do. Will Matt Riddle have to wear shoes? Well, you figure Rusev didn't wear shoes until he had an ankle injury. So there's that. Sorry, just replying to a couple people on Twitter. Charlotte, Sasha, and Bayley, all 3 with singles titles, battling each other at Survivor Series. Think how big that match will be. The thing is, they've already done that triple threat match for the Raw Women's title in 2016, shortly after Bayley was called up to Raw. They've already done that triple threat match. So to me, there's no intrigue in doing it again with brand supremacy on the line. Doesn't appeal to me. Do you think AEW's numbers will go up after COVID is over? I hope so. I hope all wrestling is able to succeed once COVID is over because more people will be able to go to shows and they'll be able to enjoy the products and all. I even think with WWE writing as weak as it is, people will be like, hey, I can actually go to WWE shows now. And I'll be super excited regardless of what they give us because we haven't been to WWE shows in a long time. So there you go. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Is AEW copying Lesnar Heyman with Taz and Brian Cage? No. I don't see why that's... I don't see why having a manager with a big guy is copying anybody. I mean, Brian Cage is Brian Cage, and Brock Lesnar is Brock Lesnar. Taz is Taz, and Paul Heyman is Paul Heyman. It's not a copy-paste unless he starts calling Brian Cage the Beast Incarnate. If it's a direct rip-off, then sure, but it's not. The night Matt Hardy and Brody Lee were supposed to debut was said to be in a sold-out 12,000-seat arena, and then COVID happened. Yeah, it's one of those unfortunate things. Some things you can't control the timing of. I don't know why it has to be that way, but it is. And yeah, some people are so used to Paul Heyman being one of the only managers, one of the only male managers, that they just assume that any other male manager is copying that. It's first of all, you have Malcolm Bivens in NXT. That's not copying anybody. It's you can have managers without copying anybody. There used to be managers all the time in wrestling. Now there's barely any. You have Paul Heyman, you have Zelina Vega, you have Taz, and you have Malcolm Bivens. Name another one. Does Brandy Rhodes count as a manager? I don't know. Are you watching it in your house tonight? No, because it's tomorrow. In your house is tomorrow. So, if it was tonight, then you could watch it at when my stream would normally be tomorrow. But no, it's tomorrow night. In your house is tomorrow night. Ken, can you imagine if the Edge Orton Backlash match lasted 5 minutes just to troll us? I still think it would be hilarious if Orton hit Edge with an RKO and pinned him after 10 seconds to troll us of the greatest wrestling match ever. I think it's going to be a farce, just because, and this is not comparing the two things either. The Young Bucks had a match titled The Biggest Super Kick Party in History, where they threw literally 0 super kicks. Like, there were no super kicks in the entire match. So I think it's going to be one of those. It's not technically the greatest match. It could be, but Orton's just got him with an RKO on him. And then they'll continue the feud as on those. I don't know. Or Edge hits him with an immediate spear. Alright, so, if there are no more super chats, then it's 5 o'clock, which means it's time for your sensation to leave you for today. But I will be back again next week, probably next Sunday, but follow me on Twitter to know for sure, because I'll post the link. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GreatCherryBrand, YouTube.com/GreatCherryBrand, Teespring.com/store/GreatCherryBrand. Wherever you find your Great Cherry Brand, you will find this guy right here. So until next time, I will see you sometime soon, I'm sure. Check out Wrestling Trivia Challenge on Friday. Follow me on all the social media, and we will see you next time.